Yo, what's goody, what's goody, man? This is the Game Heads XP podcast, and if you're new to this one, it gets a little crazy, gets a little wild. There's some chaos, all right?
Because it can.
My name is Cam. I'm chilling with my favorite happy chaos main. You know, I think you've made your decision, right? Bushido
I did.
Brown.
I did make my decision. I thought I was going to be Nagoriyuki, but it's HC. You know, the guns are more powerful than swords, of course.
Yo, that mean that's it. I didn't want to see you in a certain venue. Don't reach in the backpack. You have any backpacks around there? Don't reach into a backpack, Jay. Yo, we gotta get into a lot of matters today, but probably kind of just get these ideas off, man. A lot of things been happening in gaming, and a lot of things ain't been happening in gaming. You know how that one go. All right, so just big up everybody got it locked in, and don't forget to check Game Heads on IG and all social media platforms, especially Facebook. All right, let your Grammy know that you appreciate the game console that she bought you, and it didn't have any games with it, and she say, "Oh, you have to buy games," because you know I spent an entire Christmas using the draw thing on the Nintendo Wii, not the Wii, the DS, because you know
you still have one of those.
No, this was when I was a kid. They got me a DS, but they didn't buy any cartridges.
Like 2021.
No, they didn't buy me any DS cartridges for my Nintendo DS. I was super happy. Rip it open, bop, bop, bop. And I spent an entire Christmas because I was not in a family island, right? And I just went through every single menu. On that DS, I read, the health warning and notice. Yeah, I read that all because I didn't have any games. I just had the DS. So, you know what I'm saying? If anybody knows the struggle, then shout out to you. The first game I got on that.
I can relate to that struggle.
Yeah, because you probably was.
Hey, I was always privileged with internet capabilities and access.
I mean. Yeah, you had access. I was on an island, but big up to my island gamers for real. The first game I got was Dragon Ball Z. It was on DS. I can't remember what it was named. Yeah. I wanted Legacy of Goku, but it was just a DBZ fighter. Right. I'd probably find it. All right. Anyway, enough of that. First up, we didn't even really want to get into this one, but it's so big. We got to talk about.
I mean, you everybody have to talk about it, right?
Yeah, we're shaking the table right now. Yeah, a little small, tiny company that's
an indie developer.
Yeah, very indie developer. Microsoft,
very small,
set to acquire Activision Blizzard for $95 per share, and all cash transaction valued at how much?
Apparently, according to the New York Times, they're buying it for $70 billion.
Yeah, you gotta do the Dr. Evil face. 68.7 billion. I did it wrong.
70 billion. Yeah, exactly. You got right. So they're buying it for $70 billion. Now, this is the biggest news happening right now. I tend to think that, it was bound to happen. Microsoft is, I believe, a $2.3 trillion company, right? They have money. They have money to spend, right? There's nothing stopping them from buying Blizzard Activision. But it also came in a time where things weren't looking so good for the company itself, especially with all the lawsuits happening against them for the sexual misconduct happening within the office space, right? They have around 9,000 employees. And I believe 20% are women, and they've had 2 walkouts since the allegations have come up of rampant sexual misconduct. And just recently a story broke where it was 37 people were fired and pushed out in the wake of the lawsuit, and then an extra 44 were disciplined since July last year. right? That's a ton of people.
Yeah, it's
right?
a lot of shakeups.
It's a lot, right? They shaking the tree, but it's a little bit crazy how toxic, I guess, a culture can get in a company, right? People like to joke that gamers are, they hate women or they're all incels and things like
You're
that. But
Mountain
like
Dew
Blizzard
drinkers.
Activision is truly, I mean, at least they're the employees, right, are truly proving that point, right? And it's disgusting, but I believe that was sort of the big thing that spurred Microsoft to really go, let's acquire this company. We're not going to get a better deal, right? They're being a little opportunistic and they're jumping in.
It's great. I mean, it's great. Like, we don't know the outcome of it, but is a power play I didn't see. Sony may have seen it, but they couldn't be as quick on the draw. I don't think they have the income or the money to even make the world's third largest. This is the biggest acquisition in gaming, making Microsoft the third largest game company. Is still up there. Tencent is up there, and then it's Microsoft. All right, so this is a super duper power play to kind of end any discussions of Microsoft isn't in the running. Microsoft, they wet the bed and all that type of stuff.
One of the good things coming out of this is that console wars can finally change a little bit. People can offer different points now instead of just saying the same points that we've been saying. People have been saying on both sides for years. I'm not in those wars because I'm a PC master race. But those lowly beings playing their little consoles, they've always been, for the past like 5, 10, even 15 years, they've been saying the same points, right? Sony has the exclusive. Xbox doesn't have anything people can play, but Xbox has Game Pass now, right? Mm-hmm. And so they're coming back into it. And they had Xbox Live back then, right? So it's going to be interesting seeing the growth of Xbox in terms of their sales, because I believe even with the sales of the PS5 and the Xbox Series S, Sony still did come on top, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the PS5 sales were ridiculous.
Yeah, they were, right? And once again, it comes back to that question of what sells a console. Is it games or is it access or utility, right? And what Microsoft is doing even before this acquisition, right? We're not sure what they're going to do with that studio, but what they've been doing has purely been utility, where they have been pushing out all these deals to gamers and like, hey, we got you. We're the company of the gamers. Come buy our console. You can get all these different games just for $15 a month on Game Pass. And then Sony is doing the same thing Sony's always done, which is making sure that their exclusives are the most coveted exclusives out there when it comes to gaming. On any platform, people are always going to be talking about Spider-Man, always going to be talking about God of War, The Last of Us, before The Last of Us Part 2, because there was a bunch of controversy about that. But all these games have always been sort of like the kings of gaming, like the ones that will always win at the award ceremonies, will always win game awards, things like that, right? And they've been taking that approach, and it's been winning them that console war thus far. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Xbox when they do have a huge developer on their side, especially with Overwatch 2 coming out. I believe it's this year or early next year, right? We're supposed to hear more news on Overwatch 2, and Overwatch, the first one, was a huge success for Blizzard. They're coming out with the second one, depending on how many people have boycotted it, how many people are even willing to continue supporting that company after the allegations. If that game is going to be as successful as the first one, or even more so, it might actually be a Microsoft exclusive, right? Where, as it is right now, you can play Overwatch on PlayStation, and it's obviously available on PC. But for Xbox, it might just be, hey, you can only play you can only play Overwatch on the Xbox platform and PC, and Sony just gets completely cut out of the deal.
I don't think that's gonna happen. All right, like we already have Phil Spencer saying, everything that's really set in a multi platform space already should stay. I like how he
Right.
kind of, it's Phil Spencer is swag it out. I just like how he is just swag it out. Like, yeah, you may not have nothing to worry about. I saw a tweet from a verified account, can't remember the name, that said a Sony spokesperson, quote unquote, they didn't name them, has come out and said that they hope that multi-platform games remain almost like those silent threats. Like, yeah,
Right.
listen, I hope things
We might
remain the
buy you
same.
next. Just
Yeah,
so you know.
even even though those things are said, right? But for me, the biggest thing is my favorite game just got bought up by a company that I think has been making the right decisions. A company that I was rocking with early on that I abandoned because they made some big missteps, especially with the Xbox One. The whole, from Connect to the Xbox One, they
Right.
made a lot of big
Yeah.
blunders. Phil Spencer has shocked and wowed me, right? Game Pass has completely changed how I think we're going to be seeing games. When is the last time you bought a $60 7 physical, even if not physical,
Right.
right? I think this is the model that we're going to be seeing going forward, along with cloud streaming. And I think Xbox made a super duper power play already when they had all the conversation. They owned the holiday 2021. We're still waiting on a big release this year for Sony, right? And
Yeah.
Sony hasn't really been in the conversation outside of PS5 sales, which were due to, I put, clout. A lot of us wanted them. I think a lot of it was clout. They had a great lineup that we saw, but most of it was clout.
It was, yeah. So, I mean, it was still about the incentive, right? Yeah. Everyone hears about the PS5 and they hear about how
it's the cool system.
It's impossible to get right now because everyone's getting it. All the scalpers, they're buying it up.
Dre, just quickly on Twitter, it was what I call a braff. It was a gloat. It was a brag to be a PS5 owner in the first 5 months. People put that as their display names. My name is Lloyd Fernandez, PS5 owner. It was close.
Yeah, almost like they're inviting people to come rob them.
Yeah.
Right. So they know, but it wasn't just cloud, right? I mean, yes, they just came off of the PS4, and I'm not sure how many people they had converted onto PS4 versus the previous Xbox. Okay, so it was a lot, right? So yeah, it was cloud, but it was also like people that had already moved over. And yeah, if you move to one side, you're going to continue to get the next iteration of that console. Right. Just like games, you play the first game, you're going to play the second game, you play the second game. As long as they continue putting out things that you enjoy and you want to consume, you're going to continue to consume anything else they put out afterwards. Right. So with Sony, yeah, it was really cool for people. It was a cool system. They had all these great games, maybe not in the first few months, but like they showed what the PS5 system was capable of, right? And I think that's what people really bought into, right? When it came to the Xbox Series S, Series X, it was still, I think, a battle of exclusivity with the games that they had to offer. The biggest thing they had was Halo Infinite, and Halo Infinite was still available on PC, right? So I think that's still a big factor. And when people talk about these console wars, I think they also forget to bring in the other platform that Microsoft basically dominates, which is PC. So when it comes to if you're just talking about Xbox versus Sony, then yeah, you can just keep that conversation just between those two because they're home consoles. It's not like a computer that has gaming capabilities or anything like that. But with the popularity of Sony, I don't think it was purely just clout that people were saying, yeah, I'm going to throw down $500, or I'm going to spend 3 hours of my time scouring the internet to see when the next sale is, and then spending an extra hour or 2 hours of my time sitting in a virtual line. So maybe I'll get
I don't think
a PlayStation 5.
I don't think the clout was the main. The PS5 for $199. This version, I think, $550. I think. But we were gonna get that. Everyone's gonna get that. That looked like an amazing price. You say, "Wow, boom, we got it." We'll push it over the edge. Is the it factor, which said that, but ain't nobody could get these. I need to get mine, which had people spending upwards of grands. You are one of the biggest gamers I know. The biggest gamers I know don't have a PS5.
Mm-hmm.
The people I know who have PS5s, who buy all the Jordans, the guys who get all the certain watches, and you know, they just play Madden, 2K, you know, Warzone.
So they're casual gamers, right?
Right, and
not really part of that overarching gaming
that
community.
real gaming community for real. You know, like they're the cool kids. I think the cool factor is what brought them, right? But I think Microsoft is really showing out because they said, fuck that cool factor, right? We're going to do options, accessibility. They've been doing an amazing job with accessibility, and pricing, right? We're going to give power to the players for real. And I think the option of the Series S got a lot of people in the door, which was super smart. I wonder if they saw that, right? That we're going to have a big battle on the next generation. We need to do a cost-effective option to get people in the door, into the ecosystem, with a cost-effective way to give them games to keep them here, right? And with that money, with that boom, with Game Pass on PC and on console, gave them the extra oomph to say, Activision Blizzard, y'all messing up. Y'all might as well, you know, let us grab this, right? And
they gracefully floated down from the sky on their angel wings, and they say, "Hey, we got you.
Yeah,
we got you.
Yeah,
just
like
take the money."
Feel up? No, I don't know Microsoft having these, you know, issues with staff, and one of the things about this that people are talking about is that Bobby Kotick, who was the CEO of Activision Blizzard, you know, on top of all these allegations that he fired certain people, he didn't fire certain people, he made some bad decisions. He's going to continue to serve as CEO of Activision Blizzard, and he and his team will remain their focus on driving efforts to further strengthen the company's culture and accelerate business growth. Once the deal closes, the Activision Blizzard business will report to Phil Spencer, CEO, Microsoft Gaming. This is what some people are still shaky about, but I do believe, I would bet money that when the deal is closed, he will be given his party bag, his goodie bag,
and gracefully,
and he'll be on his way.
Right? I mean, do you think it is a issue of leadership when you see these allegations, or you see these things happening in the culture of a company as large as Blizzard Activision? Do you think it's a leadership thing? Right? They're just not watching their employees close enough. They're not making sure that people are taken care of, or is it? Or is the actual responsibility purely just placed on the employees themselves, right, and not really just the company?
I think,
right? So that's the question I think a lot of people have to answer if they're going to continue to support a company, right? You hear a lot of, you know, this Twitter outrage about this company from people in the gaming community. But how many of those people are still going to buy Overwatch 2 when that comes out? How many people are going to still buy the next IP and the next game? Are they truly going to stand by their ideals and say, "Hey, I'm boycotting this company. They don't stand for what I believe in, and I'm not going to continue to support anything that they do because of the things that have happened"?
We've seen a bit. I didn't buy the last Call of Duty. I didn't get back in Overwatch like I wanted. I didn't know that Activision Blizzard owned King. So I've been playing Candy Crush, right? I literally recently got both Candy Crush. Well, I got two of them and I've been playing them, right? So I didn't know. So now we back in good hands. But I think when you have a country, when you have a big company, when you have a large amount of people, it really is creating the environment to, make sure people do the right thing. And if they don't do the right thing, the guidelines, the cookie, the only way you can really do it. So if you're slacking in creating a environment where this isn't able to be so prevalent, that's where the problem gets in. And it's a juggling act between believing everybody and making sure the right thing is done and due process
of course.
is done, right?
But they did go out. They did go to an outside. They did go to an outside party after the allegations came out, right? And they came back and said, yeah, these things are actually happening, right? Equality isn't there between the sexes. There is mass mistreatment of women. I mean, even more recently, the big shock was that breastfeeding workers were getting their breast milk stolen. Right? How bad does a company get? I know, but no, you can. It's fine to laugh because it is that ridiculous that like someone would do that. Not even like someone would do, oh, I can't believe you did that in a professional setting. No. Why would you steal someone's breast milk?
How much breast milk?
What are you going to do with it?
How much breast milk was stolen? This is one case. Still?
We don't know.
If it was one case, it could be like, I brought coconut water, and you brought breast milk. It was in a similar cup.
You just did the old switcheroo.
I just took the wrong drink, right? And I reached over.
I don't know. And I feel like breast milk would have a very unique taste compared to your coconut water, your coconut milk.
I'm just saying, if it's one case, then it's like
like that. So no, that's the question. That's the question, which is why like I'm one of those people. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to really support anything that Blizzard Activision does, because of how bad it got and how bad they let it get. Right. So regardless,
how do they turn it around, Dre? How do they turn it around?
It doesn't matter how they turned it around. They got caught and they're being forced to turn around because they have lawsuits against them. They had 2 walkouts from employees because it just got that bad. Right. It's not, and you can't say that complaints weren't filed or they weren't issued, right? That people weren't speaking up in the company. I promise you it was happening, right? But it was either just being ignored, or worse, they were a part of it, right? So, and they were actively suppressing the complaints that were coming through to the HR department, I would guess, right? So that is my main qualm with the company. Even if it is a landmark buy, right, for Xbox, it's still the same people working there, right? It's still the same culture. I don't know how deep it is. But at this point, if people's breast milk is getting stolen, that's not even the worst story. How do you clean up such a cesspool? That's my question, right? Are you even redeemable at that point?
I always wondered which studios exactly were taking out right on schedule, right? It wasn't the best, but it still made the most money, right? They have the money maker. People didn't seem to be shaking with Call of Duty, and maybe it's because,
Call of Duty is a massively casual game, right? This was a story that broke, and most people who aren't attuned to gaming or the industry or the community probably didn't hear about it.
I think the only community this affected really was Diablo's community, Overwatch's community, Warcraft's community, that Blizzard, right? I don't think a lot of the Activision properties really caught the smoke. It was really that Blizzard side, right? I haven't heard anything.
But I mean, what do you
of Heroes of the Storm?
What do you mean by just the Blizzard side? Because like the games are still Blizzard games, right?
No, they are Blizzard games, but it seems that because those games like Overwatch Studio, Warcraft Studio, Diablo, I'm sure they interchange developers, and they have a set of people who just work on those because they came from the original Blizzard team, or Blizzard games have their own set. their style of graphics, their style of game development, and it seems like they would be lumped almost like in one building, whereas the Call of Duty developers would be in another side, and the King developers would be in another place. It seems like the games that I feel I see took the most hit or the biggest decline have been Diablo, Overwatch especially.
Yeah, but I
Overwatch
mean,
is dead
it's
in the
not only
water,
that, right? It's not
and
just that. Like,
Warcraft.
those games have been out for so long, and there's just been, I don't think, from what I've heard from the live service content or any type of update to the Diablo,
But
the
all of
Diablo
that was
2 just
halted.
isn't.
But it was halted by the allegations.
Yeah, right. But I mean, but
We had
also,
that
right. You
Diablo
say
4
that
last
you
year.
say that it may not just purely be like, the games, but look at the case of McCree, right? The cowboy character in Overwatch. He's been renamed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
He got his name changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because the guy that they named him after was allegedly part of the Cosby suite and was fired as a result of the allegations of sexual harassment against him, right? So they renamed him to Cole Cassidy, right? Where such a landmark character like Jesse McCree for Overwatch has his name is changed, right? It's not just a small thing. And so when
That's the
things
game
come
that was
out
hit
like
the
this,
hardest.
yeah, it was, right? So that's my only thing, is that when things like this happen, right? The company, when news breaks and people learn about it, it's maybe more damage control rather than actually trying to do change, which I understand because you're a company, right? Your main goal is to make money. That is what a company is, and it's not like dishonorable just because that is your main goal, but it still has to be that the people that work there have to be in a safe environment. That should be that should be just one of the base simple aspects of a company, that the actual office or the culture, the people that work there are in a safe environment, that they don't feel uncomfortable, or that they're not getting sexually harassed day in and day out, and they're being ignored when they do talk about it, right? Or actively suppressed. So that's my only thing, where, yeah, I think it's really, really cool. It's really cool that Xbox spent all that money, right? But I would probably be more excited if it were on another company that wasn't dealing with such horrible allegations against it.
I mean, that with it, it's like, unless you want the entire company to sink, which I don't think anyone
Some
working
people,
there would
so
want
Twitter.
it.
Some people do.
It would be terrible, and those people aren't thinking economically
Yeah, of course
either.
Yeah.
Take the bad apples out and create a new structure to make sure this isn't problem. I think Microsoft does a good job of that. As far as their what I hear about the workers and the type of environment that they isn't so bad. I saw a story on Twitter. This guy said, I recently left Microsoft I recently left Microsoft to go get a job at Activision Blizzard. And and then this happens, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be interested to see the next set of moves.
You talk about bad timing.
What Phil Spencer is gonna do to change or even reshape the company, or even just change the name, right? Got it. Change the name, put all the games under like a separate type of thing. I don't know. I'm not a gaming CEO, but I do know that it looks promising. It looks promising. And
And I mean, on the lighter side, right? Let's talk about what this means just for the gaming industry as a whole, right? What are we going to see as a shift, especially from obviously Xbox? What are the things that we're going to see with this acquisition, or that you may, that you speculate that might happen with the company, what changes might be made, what new things they might bring into the fold, right? With the acquisition of this company, what does this mean for the other companies, right? What does this mean for like Tencent or Sony or Nintendo?
I think they have a bigger market share because let's say you're a shark, right?
Mm-hmm.
You aren't really worried about the fish out there, right? But as groupers becoming a shark, they're gonna start eating your food, and they have to share that food. And I think competition is great, but I think this is as big as it needs to go. I don't want too much monopolies, too much conglomerates. You know what I'm saying? But I think,
well, I mean that's one thing that people are sort of like
but you can't be
apprehensive of,
mad.
especially with Microsoft, right?
But you
If
can't be mad at
Microsoft is
Microsoft.
no
Yeah.
one's mad at Microsoft,
And it's
not yet at
Microsoft
least.
Gaming, right? It's Microsoft
Yeah.
Gaming that is doing this, and I think they put themselves in a position to make a big play, and I'm not mad at it because they were down for long. Nobody was upset when Sony was throwing jabs, and the whole culture was Xbox. What? No games? Oh, where are the games? Forza, Halo. You only got Halo. You know what I'm saying? Halo killed holiday 2021. Forza Horizon was nominated for a lot of awards. They put themselves in an amazing position. I'm not mad at the sale. Hopefully they clean things up, and the console wars could officially be done because I haven't.
Who decides
Well,
the
I
end
think
of the console war, the legendary console wars?
I think because I haven't seen any Sony fanboys on my social media with anything to say other than I saw a guy saying, "Oh, Microsoft just buy Call of Duty. I ain't playing that no more." If you wouldn't play it, you just was in a Call of Duty fan, right? If y'all, but other than that, I'm not seeing anything from any Sony fanboy, and it was a little bit of chirps, whereas it wasn't much since ain't nothing really been dropping on Sony's camp like that. But I don't know what's gonna get people talking about Sony again in the real echo chamber of it, because
I mean, God of War. Right. Whenever the next big Sony game comes out, Sony is going to be the talk of the world.
We'll
the
wait
gaming
and see.
world for that month,
I'm
2
sure,
months, 3 months.
But we'll wait and see, right? We'll wait and see. Right now, the clout of getting a PS5 is dying down. Everyone who's trying to get them now are people like us who haven't gotten them. It's us.
I mean, who else? Who else
would get them now?
What would be the other demographic?
Only does, huh?
So, what would be the other demographic of that, though? Right?
I told
the only people trying to get the Sony console, the people that don't have it, right? No, but they still want it, and that could still be a very large.
But I'm saying, it's us, right? So if we look at the majority of people who got it, right, who don't usually rush out to get consoles, right, who aren't buying 3 games a month, right, who may buy no games, they just buy V-Bucks, right, but they aren't buying different games and a bunch of games, right?
Yeah.
Until the people really who into gaming and they'll buy 3 to 4, 5 games a month until they get in the ecosystem, I don't think we're gonna hear a real set of chirping. Especially Sony just brought out new plates. I haven't seen people switching up their plates. I don't see people buying new colors for their plates. The controllers look good. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not hearing much of a buzz. I know Sony's still strong. I know they're good. I'm just talking about the buzz and everything I see, here talking about the topics usually are right now what Microsoft is doing, what Xbox is doing. Like
but I mean,
that's how you do it.
It's all you get back in the game. It's also a question of when's the last time Sony put something out for us to talk about. right? Because at the end of the day, the person that puts out the news is the company itself, right? They'll be like, okay, now we're going to release this news, or that now we're going to release this information, and people are now going to consume that, and then they're going to talk about it, right? Sony doesn't have anything right now, and at least they're still working on the things that they're going to be bringing out, right? When Sony had done their showcase of the games that are going to be on the PS5, their exclusives, right, for the next like 2 or 3 years, I believe. No one was talking about Xbox or Microsoft,
which is fine.
Anything,
so when
right?
it flips,
and now you see it's always going to be like that, is what I'm saying, right? It's just because you see that there are people talking about Microsoft now doesn't mean that like the buzz or the appeal for Sony has died down. It just means that I don't think so.
This is going to next thing to be a boom, and we've seen games kind of come fizzle as games do, but like the staying power right now, like my thing with Sony is it was so hard pressed in the people's head that Microsoft ain't got no games and that they don't got no exclusives, right?
Yeah.
I don't get why it isn't fair to say Microsoft is the talk of the they are running shit right now. They're doing their thing in a space because they got the games, they got the prices, they got the, they're about to, they got the exclusives now. They just have to maintain a good rhythm. And I think they found a good rhythm, right? We didn't know half of the games that were coming out last year that were good. Like a lot of the games that came out last year that were good, we didn't even know were coming out. But that kind of kept them afloat, right? I want to see some pop-up successes outside of the big titles for Sony kind of do well and kind of shake things up, right? Because all those breakout successes were on Sony.
Yeah, of course, it'll be nice to see that, but I think the problem has always been that Xbox exclusives aren't real. Xbox exclusives will almost always be available on PC, right? Most people today have a computer with gaming capabilities. Obviously, if you just have a computer for school, you just have a computer for work, and it's not a true gaming laptop or a desktop or whatever, you're not going to be able to play like Cyberpunk on it, right? But just the option for people who do have a PC at home, right, which has had an exponential growth of sales and popularity in the last 10, 15 years. PC gaming seems to be the primary mode of gaming for a substantial amount of people. I'm not going to say most gamers because I don't have the numbers on it, but I will say it's a very, very large portion of people and gamers, right? And those when those people, I myself am part of that demographic. When I'm looking at Sony and I'm looking at Microsoft, I don't care about the Xbox coming out because I know all the games coming out on Xbox I can just play on my PC, and my PC has better graphics than the Xbox has to offer, right? But when Sony comes out with something like the new God of War, or they come out with Ratchet and Clank, or they come out with whatever Sony exclusive they come out with, I'm not going to get to play that, and I'm going to have a major case of FOMO. Major, right? That's how I felt with Spider-Man. Right, I didn't play Spider-Man. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, Spider-Man's coming!" And
I played it on PS4,
and I missed out. And I felt that. Right, you saw a lot of Xbox people being like, "Oh my God, they got Spider-Man! I can't believe this!" Right, and they felt like they were losing the console wars. And so when you see something like that happening,
where losing it for years, though.
Yeah, if we're being real, just because I'm just saying, just because they get a little shine now doesn't mean the tide has turned. They're pushing the enemy Sony forces back like that. That's just not happening. It still remains to be seen, is all I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying, but it still remains to see how their rhythm and momentum goes. We know how tide turns. When you're down, we play League of Legends. You're down. You defend. You make one big team fight.
Let's not bring the league.
You get one
let's not
big
bring the
team
league,
fight.
Metaphor.
You get one big team fight. Get the right elements fed, and things are turning in your favor now.
Yeah,
and
but on the other end of that
Sony
spectrum,
is in defense now.
I don't think that's
sales,
what it is.
Because I do think that's what it is, because outside of console sales, Xbox still is neck and neck with Sony in those sales, right? They just had another option. They're still neck and neck with Sony with those sales. Outside of sales, I think they are getting more revenue from gaming than Sony is. They have to be. Outside of PS Plus.
Yeah, but it's never the battle. The console war has never been about sales, right? It's been about quality, or it's been about use, right? The Sony the Sony battalion,
the console,
right, have always said, "Oh, we got all the exclusives, we got all the best games,
and that's all they're saying."
And there's no reason for anyone to buy an Xbox because Sony got all the best games, because you can play Xbox games whenever you want on your PC if you have a PC. Our exclusives are better than yours, right? And regardless of whether or not PlayStation and Sony are neck and neck, or Microsoft is making more than Sony, which of course Microsoft is making more than Sony because Microsoft is a much bigger company than Sony.
Talking about the gaming. I'm just talking about the gaming.
Yeah, well, even so, Microsoft, if they wanted to move funds around for the budget for their gaming, they have more to draw from their other avenues of business, right, than Sony does. So of course, that's they're always going to have, I guess, the monetary advantage. But yeah, the war or the argument has never been about, oh, Xbox is going to beat Sony in sales. Now, for some people, it has, but I think that's stupid. I don't think that's what people should be arguing. It's purely about quality, and utility of the actual platform.
What's going to happen if Sony goes through, right? I think they're going to have a tough time if they don't make Spartacus appealing, which is the code name for their Game Pass equivalent, which is going to be way late to the table. If it isn't as appealing as Game Pass, I think they're going to have a problem, as well as there was this article, I don't know how true it is, it said that Sony plans, this no way, tell me if you saw this. This can't be.
Yeah.
Sony has plans to make more PS4s since they can't make PS5s.
No, that's not true. That wouldn't make any sense. That wouldn't make any sense.
And I'm like, why are people trolling like this? But
the main thing that's keeping the Sony hype alive without Sony really putting anything out to reignite that hype is the rarity of the PS5, right?
Well, and it's the keeping that has gamers excited for Sony, right? The only thing that has gamers excited for Sony has been getting their hands on a console, which has been a stressful process for a lot of people. It's been a headache,
me included,
for a lot of people. Sony has stressed people. As much as you say you want it, they have the exclusives. I don't see you out there towing the line. You didn't pay over $1,000 for it, right? The wool is being pulled over a lot of people's eyes to say, yeah, I get some great exclusives, but it isn't worth it. It 100%. If I had waited to get 5, right? I wouldn't have played a lot of the stuff that I played. I wouldn't have, gotten on the Xbox side of the Game Pass and, been able to play in different places just via having that console. And I solely got a Series S to play Resident Evil Village and Next Gen. It was like, dude, you could get it on the PS4. You can get Spider-Man on the PS4.
Hey, but that's what a lot of people, of course, that's what a lot of people are saying. They're like, I don't want to play my PS4 anymore because it's, when all these new games come out, I want the best graphics. I want the game to look amazing,
which I think
like they've marketed to, and that's just not going to look like that on PS4.
Which is, back to the topic of this acquisition, which I think makes the acquisition so mind-blowing to me, is that it seems that Microsoft knew that they were getting L's. They took those L's and they say, okay, we're gonna lose with clout. Right? We can sell as much fridges as we want to sell.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna lose clout. So put this smaller option so that when that clout overwhelms Sony, we grab them, we give them something that they can't resist in Game Pass. This is, around COVID time where people are getting laid off, they didn't have that much money. $15 a month, that's fine with me. And I'll play all the stuff I haven't played, even if it is in the brand new stuff, which wasn't that much brand new stuff to pay $60. And Sony had them playing $70 for. I think the power play that Microsoft pulled off is not being respected enough. And if they continue on this path and trajectory, if they do it, they may slip, because they had it with 360, they slipped, right? They made a major misjudgment and they slipped. If they stay on this path here that they've had, then it's going to be a different landscape in 2, 3, 4 years. That's just how I feel about it. And as far as
it's going to be a different landscape in 2, 3, 4 years, regardless of whether or not Xbox falls beneath people's expectations of them saving the gaming industry or changing it in any crazy way. But I think that, I agree that Xbox, they've been taking L's. Maybe they've seen it. Internet meme culture is strong, right? Everyone sees this stuff. Everyone sees this stuff. Every time Xbox marketing team went and they're having the memes like, oh, they talking about us. What are they saying? Oh, they're saying that Sony wins. Okay. 2 months later, what are they saying this time? Oh, we have no exclusives. Oh, okay. Let's try and change our strategy. So, I agree. It's nice to see that they're going in a different direction, because they can't beat Sony at Sony's game. They got to do their own thing.
Give them a hand clap, Dre. Give them a hand clap.
Just for you, Cam. Just for you, right here. All right.
It was a big move.
It was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. I'm a believer. Okay,
right? And you can't buy a Mythic without the money. Buy a Mythic. Buy a Mythic item. You can't buy it without the money, right?
I'm loving the League metaphors right now. But I will come back to the League metaphor.
Jump into the pain chamber,
Of course. We're on
wink,
all the
wink.
time.
For our podcast listeners and watchers, there's a wink, wink.
Yeah.
Find yourself in the pain chamber or somewhere close, right? And
of course. But I will come back to you with my own League metaphor. You say that we can all just one team fight, but we can turn the game. We could turn the game, right? And that's what you say. That's what Sony did. Or sorry, that's what Xbox did. But that's not how it happens. UFF 15, Cam, right? When you are down,
they weren't down that bad.
40 CS.
They weren't that bad.
You have 8 deaths by the end of laning phase. Oh, this game is unwinnable, right? Oh, they may give some shutdowns later at 25 minutes, but that doesn't mean that the game is over. They have Dragon Soul, right? Mm-hmm. They have all these things on their side because they've just been winning for so long. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think you're seeing. Yes.
I don't
Yes, you have a sliver of hope. Mm. you have this hope, and you have the potential to get on Sony's level, right? And I don't even think it's that. I don't even think that Xbox isn't on Sony's level at this point, right? Game Pass has obviously proven that Xbox is on Sony's level. But once again, I think it's always just been, if with this console war, it's always been a question, or in the argument has always been which console is more worth it, which quality is better, right? Even when the Xbox was more powerful than the PlayStation, no one cared because it is now, right? No one cared because they were like, oh well, what are you going to play on that? Fortnite? They don't have anything that can actually utilize that power and can really showcase it. Meanwhile, Sony has all these crazy games coming out that is definitely going to showcase the power of the PS5, regardless of whether or not it's as powerful as the Xbox, right? So that's the only thing I think is, yes, it's cool that they're buying Activision Blizzard. Is Call of Duty going to become an Xbox exclusive? It remains to be seen. I will laugh so hard.
It gives them the CS.
I will be so happy if they were to do that, because it'll be the most. It would be the pettiest thing. But let me just finish my point. Right? Let me just finish my point. If they do come back, then I don't think the tide is going to be turned and, oh, they've won the war, right? Oh, it's over forever, for all time. Xbox has come on top, and there's nothing that Sony can do. They've lost, right? You're going to see the same thing happen, especially if Sony has things coming through the pipeline, which Sony always does. You'll see the same thing happening, or the same people on Sony's side saying the same thing that Xbox people are saying right now. And that doesn't necessarily mean that Xbox is losing when that does happen, just like it doesn't necessarily mean that Sony is losing just because Sony hasn't put anything out in a few months, and Xbox has.
I get you. My metaphor to that is, Microsoft took
these listeners are going to be so confused if they don't play League.
If they don't play League, Microsoft, they on some really bad studios, some really bad IPs that caused them, and I think it's because they didn't have that full spare look on gaming where the way Sony has. Sony game studios just was laser focused on good games, the good developers, and giving them what they needed. Microsoft had their hand all over the place. Connect, talk to your thing. All these, they were mixed up, and they were just throwing money at cool stuff. Scalebound, dragons, you could ride dragon the money, right? And it cost them. They didn't have the items they need. They bought the wrong items, right? But Call of Duty, Activision, Blizzard, King, Candy Crush, these are super big mobile markets as well. This Call of Duty is cornering mobile as well. King, the whole of Blizzard, you know what I'm saying? And that gives them the CS, the money they need to buy. And once they have that laser focus and that plan, they have the CS they need to buy the right items. It may be too late, but if they go the right way, they have 60 seconds to base race. They have 60 seconds to get to that Nexus, and I'm not going to count them out just yet. That's my thing. I got everything. I rock with everyone, but I give kudos the way I see cool stuff happening, and I see the cool stuff happening on the green side right now. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. Well, I'm a glass half empty type of guy. I'm always going to poke holes in the things that are happening.
But that's not
you know me.
Two heads
I'm
got
not
a
an
bump,
optimist.
right?
Of course.
Yeah,
so I do like, and I'm just going to say this last piece. It is, like I said, super cool. I think that cool things are going to happen because of it. And if Xbox ends up fumbling and they don't do anything and this all falls flat, that doesn't mean that the vision or the dream or the idea has died. Someone else is going to do it. And the innovation is still going to happen in the gaming industry. And that is always exciting because the gaming industry has always been an industry of innovation, right, and technology. So regardless of what happens, it's all exciting. It's all super cool. But that doesn't mean that we can't be realistic about it, about what our expectations are, because people saying that, oh my God, Xbox is now the king. They have won the war. It is over. They're only going to be disappointed.
I don't think
Xbox might do something really, really cool later. Hey,
no one should be saying that.
Twitter.
But the only person I see wilding out right now, what you need to watch is a metaverse.
The metaverse.
Not with gaming.
Hey, that's another podcast. That's another.
I know
podcast.
You got an Oculus Quest. I know you got.
I do not. I don't.
There,
no, I don't. I don't. No, I don't. I don't.
I know
have
you got
VR.
You buy those anime games on Steam, Dre.
I don't. Why are you exposing me right now?
Yo, we'll be on the metaverse soon. Maybe I don't
speak
know.
For yourself.
let's get on the metaverse, man. But what we are on is Discord. Please search up Gameheads International. Come into Discord, play with us, rock with us, talk with us. It's whatever your game is. You come in, we put the fires together, we put the squads together. Shout out to the squad. So shout out to like I always big up the Pain Chamber. Big up to the FGC community that rock in the Discord, the Fortnite kids, even the Jackbox team. That be getting themselves together in the Gameheads Discord and all social media. Gameheads International. I think what we getting into. I've pulled down Rainbow Six Extraction. Right, it's free on Game Pass. Which we did not know was happening. Which is they've been doing a lot. It's like that's on Game Pass. You get that. So I pulled that one down, and hopefully I could get into that. Check that out tonight. I don't know what you're gonna be getting into.
I mean, we've been trying to get people together in the community to play different games that they may have not have played before. I know we tried in October last year to do Dead by Daylight. I would still love to do that with more people. What was that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did a few.
Yeah, a few games, right? But get in the community together to play different things, especially like the Halo Infinite and the new things that are coming out, especially in the gaming community here, there in Nassau, Bahamas, and across the way in St. Lucia, Jamaica, the other countries that we have partners with. So definitely, if you aren't in the Discord, join the Discord, catch us there. Jump in a few ranked matches with me. I'm trying to get gold this season in League of Legends. But even if you don't play that, if you play any fighting games, we have a huge FGC community that's just waiting for things to happen. So jump in the Discord, follow us on all social media, like Cam said.
You already know what to do, huh? Buy the right items. Come out of base strong, and don't buy too much long sword.
Okay, just you watching that base race, the 11-0 Tryndamere taking you a Nexus and 2 hits.
Gameheads out until the next part. Please look out on the Solids, SoundCloud, Spotify, all podcasts and platforms, and look out for Gameheads XP everywhere as well. All right, so until next time, keep gaming. I don't like that.
Absolutely. we need to find
one. All right?
We got to find our own.
Drop comments.
Yeah.
This should be the ending statement or phrase. Anyway, bye.
We'll figure it out.